April reading wrap up. Let's get it. What on God's green earth are you on about? What do you mean that was the ending of that book? Hi, I'm Georgia. Welcome. I would say welcome back, but I've never done a reading wrap up before. But I have a reason to do one. I finally found a 5-star read. So this is big news because what do you mean I haven't had one since January? And I've been on a really horrific dry spell of 5-star reads. And I read a lot of books usually. So like it wasn't for lack of trying. April was a dire month. And then it got turned around. I've read 9 books in April. And so steady, but I was beginning to get a little bit slumpy. Fantasy romance was not hitting. It was not doing it. And I was reading a really good fantasy romance series that we're going to get into. And it was 4 stars. And everyone had said it was 5 stars. And I was like, well, what do you mean it's not 5 stars for me then? It just has to be. And I had to switch genre. I switched it up and I got my 5 stars. So we're going to get into it all. But another thing that April was the month of rereading. Because rereading's back. I am literally rereading my favourite series now to keep that 5-star high. And I'm not mad about it. I'm going to keep doing that into May. And I'm going to have the best, most 5-star month ever. So, what was my 5-star read? I'm just going to go in a random order because if I do it in the chronological order, the exciting books are at the end and it's just boring. So, what was my 5-star read? I saw on TikTok people talking about the Calloway Sisters series. And they said, if you love Magnolia Parks, go and read this. Well, you don't need to tell me twice because I'm a Magnolia Parks stan. So, Addicted to You is the first book in the series that was my 5-star read. This is issues, if you catch my drift. Alcohol and intimacy. I'm not going to spell it out for you in case YouTube kick off with me. But intimacy and alcohol dependency, if you catch my drift. But this was the most messy, forced proximity situationship. I also read Ricochet. And I'm reading Addicted for Now, which is the 3rd book. I'm not finished. I've taken a break to come and do another reread of one of my 5-star series that I'm going to get into. And this follows Lily and Lo, so they have serious issues. And their families think they've been in a relationship for years, when actually they are in the most messy, codependent, toxic, enabling situationship ever. Okay? Like, she's going out and getting with half of the country. And he is just drinking, to be honest. And it all just starts to get complicated, messy, obviously goes completely wrong. And I guess the whole series is dealing with it. And I'm in sort of the depths of that now. But 5 stars. Inhaled in one sitting. Like, I did not move from my seat. So that's how good we're talking. If you love a toxic situationship romance and like Magnolia Parks was your vibe, then go and read it because it will be instantly 5 stars. I'm currently in the depths of a Boys of Tommen reread because if you know, you absolutely know. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you. So get to know. I'm not a big rereader, but do you know what? Boys of Tommen, I keep seeing stuff about claiming 10 and I just thought the other day, I don't really remember a lot of releasing 10. Probably trauma response, probably blocking that out, but we're going to reread it anyway, so I'm fresh. And also because I'm hunting down 5-star reads, I want that feeling again. And I was getting a little bit fatigued of reading so much Calloway Sisters, like I was inhaling it, that I just thought, slow down, don't ruin it for yourself, spot it early that you need a break. And I thought, we'll go and read this then because it's just such a good series. Anyway, so I have inhaled Binding 13 for the 2nd time. And Keeping 13, I've just finished that today. So I'm now going to go into the next books in the series, Saving and Redeeming 6, and consume them because it just becomes my personality when I'm reading them. If you don't know what this series is about, this is, I would say, interconnected standalones, but you do have to read them in order, so just an interconnected series, really. It's Irish school kids, which sounds immature, but the concepts in this are extremely troubling and mature, so you really need to check the triggers, make sure you're okay with it. This is like a series that breaks you and heals you all at the same time. And I would say it applies to the entire series, but obviously it's unfinished. So yeah, releasing 10 will just ruin you. And we're kind of waiting for the healing to follow. So that's why I'm just diving back in. But these books specifically, Binding and Keeping 13, rich rugby player, prodigy, like he's coming up. He's going to get called up to play for Ireland. They're who they're putting the money on. And a really insecure young girl who has been bullied, who is having a really, really tragic and tough home life. She just needs someone in a corner, and that's what Johnny is going to do for our girl Shannon. It's just so beautiful. Like, the way he loves her makes me want to sob my little heart out. Like, their relationship and the way he just advocates for her and helps her find a voice really is so stunning. And I really didn't think I'd like this, because I was like, Irish teens, like, I'm a bit old to be reading that. No, you're never too old for this. You're never too old. Honestly, just do it if you've not. 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. I am doing a Voice of Tom and reading vlog currently, as well as filming this. So I guess if you actually want to see how that's going and how I'm now going to be traumatized, now I know everything going back, then make sure you subscribe, because I can't say when it's going to happen. I'm bland, but it's in the process. So those were 2 books that I'm now traumatized from. We also did another reread, because why not? Clearly the month of rereading. With my book club, Paperback Confessions, that me and Abs run, we are rereading Throne of Glass. Abs is a first-time reader. If you want to see her reactions, make sure you're subscribed, because she is going through that for the first time. I am rereading it, which is a completely different experience. Last month, I read Assassin's Blade. Ruined me. Like, I can't even put into words the sobbing that went on. Not even when we got there. If you know, you know. But this month, I read Throne of Glass. And yeah, solid. I would say for me, the series picks up at Air of Fire. However, Assassin's Blade I choose to read first, because I'm an emotional damage girly. And that really hit. This, solid 3.5 stars, 4 stars territory. I know what's to come, and I think that's why it's now becoming a lot more special than when I originally rated it like 3.5 stars. I re-rated it 4 stars this time, because I just know everything now. But if you don't know about Throne of Glass, where have you been? But it's a fantasy romance book. It is classed as young adult. I think it's like young teen, but that's just because like it's a romance subplot. So, if you've read Akatar and you're wondering, this is very much a romance subplot. It follows Selena, and she is an assassin, and the journey she goes on, by God, is strapping. It's a 9-book series, and it's one of the best fantasy romance series, quite possibly ever, in my opinion, and also quite a lot of other people's opinions. So this was stunning. Like, I just love going back into the world, and I'm trying to get through this and Akatar before Akatar 6 and 7 come out, and I'm just having the best time with the book club. I have been a bit naughty though. I'm going to make a confession. If you do want to jump in on the reread, or also are reading Throne of Glass, please do come and join the book club, Paperback Confessions on Fable, because we're having a great time. But I have let the book club down because I'm only here on Crowded Midnight, because Boys of Tommen has taken over my life. Okay? And my book club is now moving on to Air of Fire. Luckily, Abby has that covered, but I do need to catch up. So this will be in the May rereads, because next week, when I finish Boys of Tommen, because I'm giving myself 1 week to just inhale it, I'm going to get back to this, and I'm going to read this and Air of Fire, because if you know, you know. So yeah, we read Throne of Glass. Ignore the tangent. Kindle reads. They're all my physical books. Kindle, we did go into dark romance. I had a little delve just to try some different genres from fantasy romance when I was trying to find a 5-star read. Don't really know why I thought I'd find it in Bad Bishop. Okay, don't know. But I trust Mariana reads a lot. I can't remember if she said it would be 5, but I think she definitely said 4. And I just fancied it on a Friday night. Devoured in 1 sitting. 4 stars. And do you know what? When I heard the concept of this book, I thought, look, I trust you, Mariana, but it did sound messed up. And it was absolutely messed up. So, like, again, if you are not a dark romance girly, just skip till I'm talking about another book, to be honest, because really troubled but I'm probably also therefore really troubled with the fact that I rated it 4 stars. Check the trigger warnings, because obviously something happens to the FMC in this, and basically she ends up having a baby, if you catch my drift. Horrendous. And her family, it's like kind of mafia vibes. That's the train of dark romance. And so her family are a little bit messed up and are like, yeah, you're going to have to marry someone then, because that's not okay in our family. But they're also deeply religious. So they're like, yeah, you're having the baby, but we need to now find your husband. So they just bring in like one of the worst MMCs for reputationally in the mafia. They're like, get him in, we'll just have him in. He doesn't care about anything. He'll just say yes because he's just morally pitch black. And they don't care as long as she has a husband, so they just sign her up. And there's also a really weird thing with it where her mum's pretending that she has like learning disabilities. Like, she does have, I can't even remember because I read this at the start of the month. She has like something, but her mum really exaggerates it and makes it out as if she literally has an entire learning disability, and she doesn't. And then her mum's like, pretend because it'll protect you. Like, your dad won't bother you then. He won't try and marry you off. So I think it's coming from a good place, but it's just obviously... Just every aspect of this book was really messed up, but I really enjoyed it. I inhaled it in one sitting. Is it perfect? No. It's obviously forced proximity via arranged marriage, and arranged marriage is my favourite trope, so I think that's why I just was like, I'm just going to ignore everything else and have the best time in an arranged marriage book, because I love arranged marriage. And I inhaled it in one sitting, so I can't really say too much negatively about it other than it is a very messed up book. And it does include sort of kind of a treated trope. I want to disclaim that. I know some people really don't like that. Listen, for me, it's like, if it's not happening in real life, fine. Like, you know, they've got to seriously grovel, and it's usually in more messy situationship books that it happens anyway. But in this, it's kind of complicated because they are married, but they're also like not in any form of relationship at that point. So I feel like that's the caveat, I would say. So yeah, if you like dark romance, this is part of a series. It's an interconnected standalone, and I've read one of the other books, but I'm really not doing it in order, and it's just became chaos. But it's fine because it's an interconnected standalone. So I guess if you like messed up things and you like dark romance, then there you go. But if you don't, just completely ignore me. Just completely ignore that, guys. That's a little blip for you, because you will really judge me, and we don't want that. What else was there? I've covered 4.5, I guess, if we count Crown of Midnight, but I'm not counting Crown of Midnight. So I read the series that I was on about earlier. I read Sins of the Zodiac. And I say I read Sins of the Zodiac. I read Echo Fort and Never Keep. Never Keep, then Echo Fort. God, this has been a long day. And 4 stars, both of them. But when I tell you the ending of Never Keep, 6 stars. 6 stars. And everyone was saying the last 20%, and I got there and I was going, no, this is 4 stars, guys. Then I got to the last 5%. What on God's green earth are you on about? What do you mean that was the ending of that book? Incredible. Like, perhaps one of the best 5% of a book I've ever read in my entire life. And I wish it was more. If we'd got that for 20%, would have been 5 stars. But like, I can't rate an entire book off 5%, unfortunately, as much as I would genuinely give the book 6 stars off that. So 4 stars. Because basically I can't actually say too much about this series. I'm so enthusiastic that I'm just about to delve in and not give you any context for the series whatsoever. You need to have read Zodiac Academy. So I can't say too much, because if you've not read Zodiac Academy, I guess go and read that, and then you can come and join us and read this. But I'm going to be honest. I did do a reading vlog on reading Never Keep and Echo Fort, and kind of answering the question of whether you need to read Zodiac Academy. So I guess go and watch that if you're interested. But the short answer is yes, in my opinion. Well, yeah, you need to have read Zodiac Academy. But I haven't read Zodiac Academy in years. And to be honest, I read Zodiac Academy and I stopped partway through. I followed that girl reading order. So I went and read Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. and then came back in. So by the time I got to like books 8 and 9, I'd read nearly like 15 books or something. And book 8 wasn't great of Zodiac Academy. So then when I went into book 9, I just had clocked out and I was just like, yeah, not really constituting reading at that point. Kind of glossed over it just so I said I completed the series. Did I love Zodiac Academy? Yeah, eventually. Like the midpoint of Zodiac Academy, I was thriving, okay? Like books 4 to 7, thriving. But it took a few to get into, and obviously it just, yeah, it was a bit of a slog in the end. I should have took a break, but at that point I didn't take breaks in series. I just raw dogged them. Mistake. So I was so confused going into this because there's things that I probably should know. If I read it recently and had read the last book wholeheartedly, then I would have understood more. So I definitely think the context is important. But you basically get thrown into the middle of a battle at the start of this book, to be quite honest, and you just have to figure it out. It's multiple POV, just like Zodiac Academy, and you follow Vesper and Everest, and they're kind of like dealing with different things. They're from like different, I want to say tribes. It's not tribes. If you've read Zodiac Academy, you kind of know like just different fractions of life in there. And they're not best of friends. Like they, you know, their segments aren't getting on. And Everest's dad's like really high up in like sort of the army kind of thing. And so she's just trying to prove her worth to him all the time. But he's got loads of kids and she's just like a write-off in his eyes. She's not interested. Her brothers are really mean to her. And she wants to go to Neverkeep, which is kind of like the training academy thing there. And Vesper goes there as well. Hence cross paths. Vesper's on her own journey. Like she's kind of in, I want to say in love with, but just like devoted to the prince of her sort of aspect of life. And he's really not nice, to be honest, but I was kind of rooting for it at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, there's just so many twists and turns. It's so action-packed and full-on, but that last 5% is worth the entire book. Like, incredible. And then I went into Echo 4 and I was like, no way. So 4 stars. Went into Echo 4, I was like, no way is this not going to be 5 stars with that setup. 4 stars. Like, honestly, I am so not a fortune teller, because I was literally on TikTok like, no way is this not going to be 5 stars. This is going to be like Akatar Akamath. I was literally going that far. No. I just think that they went in a direction that I personally wouldn't have gone in with the story, and the things that I was interested in, I still was very invested. Solid 4 stars. And I loved the build up of the multiple POVs and like kind of getting like new ones, but it just didn't hit the same, and I think that's completely fine. Like, I honestly think that's so fine, but it was just a bit gutting because at the time I hadn't had any 5-star reads. That was kind of like my mid-April. And so I started Cindervale. I did 10% of Cindervale and decided this is actually a really good series. And I know it is. Like, you know when you're reading a very well intricate, thought out fantasy romance series, but for some reason wasn't hitting. It just felt the same. It felt like I was just reading another 4-star book, and I just knew in my gut I was not in the headspace to carry it on, because it probably is a 5-star series, and I just probably was the problem after 3 months of basically not having a 5-star read, and nothing was good enough for me at that point. If it wasn't 5 stars, I wasn't interested, and that's not the right mindset, because 4 stars is an extremely good book. So I paused and I've not come back to it yet, and I am going to come back to it either in May or in June. I'm going to have a real good think about my May TBR. I'll do a video on it. We'll go through it and we'll kind of brainstorm. But I've paused that. So yeah, that's been paused, and that's either going to be May or June, definitely, because I am really enjoying that. But I stepped away, and then that's when I went and read Addicted to You and had the best time ever. So I have 0 regrets. I have one more book. Okay, I have one more book, and it's ironically, we're ending on the book that I started April on, because I'm backwards like that. Last book, and so first book I read in April, was The Forgotten and the Feared. Dragons. Listen, dragons. MMC Dragon Shifter. I heard the MMC, this was competition style training academy with an MMC who's a dragon shifter, and I thought, I am off. I'm gonna go and have my 4th wing vibe time. Was not 4th wing bad time, was 3.5. I need to stop with the 2.5s and 7.5s. I've got another book. I've read 10 books. Okay. Fine. Yeah. it's exactly what I've just said. Listen, if you like Fourth Wing, you'll like this series, but like it's not Fourth Wing vibes. It's just like the MMC is a good fun time. It needs a dragon shifter, and it's entertaining because it's a competition and it's got dragons in, and I did enjoy it, but it's nothing special, but I had a great time. So, you know, it might be Fourth Wing vibe for you. It wasn't for me, but I still had a great time. Final book. How can I forget? The Time Traveler's Tongue. This is one of our indie authors who we will be discussing on one of our Paperback Confessions episodes with me and Abs. But do you know what? This was a good time. I'm not a big lover of time travel, but I love supporting an indie author more. So I'm going to read it. And I did read it, and I did devour it in 2 days. So 3.25. I've just said I won't do 2.5. I'll make exceptions for indie authors. And yeah, this is like an FMC finding herself, finding a journey. She has an abusive husband and her tongue was removed to kind of take her voice away. Not nice. And the MMC is sort of like a time traveler, and she wants to learn because she kind of can do that. And yeah, they just go on a journey, and they go on a journey to obviously in time, like back in time. And it was a good time, guys. And I think I'm a sucker for a story where an FMC's founded a strength. And so I did think that was very beautiful in it. And it was very healing. It's obviously slightly dark. It's like a dark fantasy romance. And it's on Kindle Unlimited. So if anyone likes time travel, likes an FMC finding herself, and wants to actually support a genuinely lovely indie author, then go and read that. 3.25. I think that's a solid rating. And inhalable, like not that big of a book. I inhaled it in 2 days whilst I was reading other things as well, so like you can get the job done. So 10 books. I honestly lose count because I was going to say I read 10 in my head at the start, because I'm halfway through 2 other books. I'm halfway through an ARC read called Rider of Dragons, and that's literally what it says on the tin. And I'm also halfway through Crown of Midnight, well, a quarter of the way through. So I was going to say 10, but obviously that should have been 11. I just can't actually do basic maths. So I have read 10 books. If we're getting technical, 11 if you add them together, but we'll say 10. So April was successful. We've had 5 stars. I've had 3 5-star reads because I'm rereading previous 5 stars. And there's no rules against that. They still count. And I'm going to go and do that for May. So I can guarantee you now, I'm going to have at least 2 more 5-star reads for May. And I guess let's see whether Taming 7 and Releasing 10 become 5 stars. I feel like maybe the trauma of Releasing 10 prevents that, but maybe on the reread, I don't know. But we're going to do May Pick My TBRs next, so make sure you subscribe for that and more chaos, because this is just the way that video will probably go also. Probably harder to actually decide what I'm going to commit to reading this month and then probably ignore anyway. But that's my life. So, okay, well, thanks for watching and listening, and make sure you are subscribed if you want more of this chaos. If you do want it less chaotic, do let me know. I will try my best, but I just think that's my personality at this point. But successful reading month, and the sun's shining in my literal eyes, as you can see. So, yeah, things are looking up, guys. But I'll see you soon.